Hello, everyone. Ex-Bethelite here. So, are Jehovah's Witnesses stupid or just misinformed? And you have come to the right person to ask these questions. These are things that are in the comments section under some of my previous videos. And that's a good question. So, I'm going to answer that question in this video, in addition to another question. So, a person could be misinformed. I could be outside in a big coat, sweating. It's hot outside. Everyone's looking at me like, why is he wearing that coat in this hot weather? Well, it's possible that I'm not just stupid, but I looked at the weather channel, the same weather channel everyone else looked at, and try to figure out what the forecast would be for that particular day. And they got it wrong. I was misinformed. I looked at the weather channel. Maybe they updated the weather at a different time, but at the time I got the information, I got it from the weather channel. They told me it was going to be cooler than it was. That's why I have my coat on. I was just misinformed. See, the difference between someone who is misinformed and someone who is just simply stupid is the source of information. My source of information was the Weather Channel. There was nothing wrong with me going to the Weather Channel, although sometimes they get things wrong. However, if I would have gotten my forecast for what the weather should be by, let's say, asking my 10-year-old, what do you think the weather's going to be tomorrow? No one would debate that that was stupid. My 10-year-old is not the source of information with regards to the weather. They don't have any idea. They would have to go and look themselves. They don't know what the weather's going to be next week. They can take a wild guess. A 10-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old, they can look outside and kind of take a wild guess based off how the temperature is at that time and try to guess what the temperature will be next week. But that's still not your source of information. If I'm outside in a hot coat, sweating, people ask me, Marcus, why are you wearing that hot coat? Didn't you look at the Weather Channel? They've been saying it's going to be cool today for like the last week. And I say, no, I asked my 10-year-old to go outside and just kind of based off what he sees, kind of guess what he thinks the weather would be today. Everyone would say that's stupid. Across the board, everyone watching this video would say that that was stupid. Now, do Jehovah's Witnesses fall under the category of a group of people that got their information from a authoritative source? Or did they get it from a source that shouldn't have known the answers? People coming to your door, knocking on your door, you've no clue who these people are. And they start to try to instruct you with regards to your spirituality, your relationship with God, things that most people would consider important. At the very least, you would check and see where they're getting their information. Who are you? Oh, I'm just, I work at Walmart. Okay, the information that Jehovah's Witnesses have is vastly different from what other groups of people have. So it's very different from someone who comes and says, hey, I'm from the Baptist church. And you kind of figure where the Baptist church gets their information. Someone coming to your door saying that they are a Jehovah's Witness, and this is not an established group. It's not a mainstream group. And they're telling you things that are vastly different from what other people are telling you. Common sense would be to check where they're getting this information from. Common sense would be to check and let me figure out where this group came from. Let me find out a little history on this group. And upon that search, you would find things that would concern you. The problem is that you have Jehovah's Witnesses that never looked. They never checked. Somebody they don't know came to their door and told them that Jesus was Michael the Archangel, or told them that, hey, you're not going to heaven. Everyone's going to be here on earth except for this number of people, 144,000. Very different from anything you've heard before. You're going to go check on that information. An intelligent person would check on that information. I dare say a person without much intelligence would check on that information. Someone that doesn't even check on that would have to be stupid. There's no other term to cover that sort of thing except for someone that has an extreme lack of common sense and thinking ability. That's the type of person that wouldn't check on any of this information, because if they would have went to their relatives and said, hey, I'm thinking about joining a church that is not mainstream and that is not teaching anything near what all the other churches are teaching. Can someone check on this for me? What do you think? They could have gone to their church and went to someone who had gone to school, their pastor. What do you think? People don't realize that Jehovah's Witnesses didn't do, a lot of the Jehovah's Witnesses that are members did not do the common sense thing that anyone with any kind of common sense would have done to double check that information. As a matter of fact, you have people that have told me, after I was looking for a church to go to, once I initially left Watchtower and decided, hey, well, let me look into some other options here. What did they tell me to do? Talk to the pastor, figure out who the pastor is, figure out what he is teaching, compare it, see if what he's teaching is accurate, then go and see if he's practicing what he's preaching. And from there, if you like that particular church and they're teaching accurate information according to what you can see, and the person is legit, then you may have found yourself a good church. Just a common sense person knows that. And it just so happens that those common sense people are not Jehovah's Witnesses, because you separate people who had enough sense to check and see who is in charge here. Let me check on this person's qualifications and what they're teaching, and see if they're teaching anything that's kind of out there. And if they are, I won't join. Those are people that are smart. The people that went and, well, hey, these people were kind of nice to me, so I'm going to join a religion that ain't mainstream and ain't teaching anything that most people are teaching. That's stupid. That's just what it is. I believe some random person that came to my door, knocking on my door with some magazines. Anybody that believes whoever comes to their door selling them something is heading for trouble, because that is stupid. That's a person that needs assistance, someone to kind of be with them and watch them so that they don't do something stupid. I don't know that there is a way of debating whether or not Jehovah's Witnesses are stupid or misinformed. They got their information from a stupid source, a source that no one would have gone to for information. Let me go ask someone that has never been to a seminary. Let me go ask someone who just works down the street from me. Like, why would you go to Watchtower for information on anything? There has to be a reason you go to a specific source for information. Okay, so when you saw all the people that were born around the time of 1975, when you saw this group of people that you didn't check up on get 1975 wrong as the date the end of the world was supposed to arrive, and you stayed, that was stupid. Because that should have at least got you to look up. Let me dig, let me search, let me see who these people are. Okay? If you didn't do it then, and they're telling you, okay, well, 1975 came and went, but the generation of 1914, the people alive during 1914 will not die before the end of the world comes. Okay, well, when they got that wrong, 1975 came and went, the generation of 1914 came and went. Of course, they changed it because it was wrong. Then you should have definitely looked, because they've gotten two things wrong here. You should have definitely looked to check and see what's going on here. Right? You're dealing with people that's just stupid. It's either they're literally unintelligent, or you have people that don't care if it's right or wrong because they just are attention whores. And they know that they don't need any kind of real qualifications to get a title in that particular religion. You just attend, raise your hand and answer questions in a magazine that is so simple that a 8-year-old could answer most of the questions. Do what they tell you to do, knock on doors, and in time, they'll say, hey, this guy, he's next up. That's how you get your appointments, pretty much. I can't think of anything that Jehovah's Witnesses are authoritative on that they got right. 607 BCE. That's something that we could check. We could fact check that and see if that was accurate. Anybody that fact checked it. Anybody that went to college. This is why they didn't want you to go to college. Anyone that went to college and had any course that dealt with this at all would have seen that they flat out got it wrong. Watchtower simply wasn't smart enough. No one in the room, the governing body, those men that just look like old men, they don't even look like there's anything special to them. They just look like old men. They all got together and they got it wrong. How do you get that many people together? 7, 8 people in a room, and none of them had enough sense to, before we start to put these numbers and dates together and calculate other what we think is Bible prophecy based off those dates, let us first see if those dates are accurate. No one in the room was smart enough to do that. Hey, 607 BCE, let's go with that. Hey, tons of books written on this topic. Let's look it up and see if we're somewhere around the ballpark of what they're saying. No one had enough sense to do it, because these aren't people out of Harvard. These aren't people out of Princeton. The people running Watchtower, the governing body, are literally just people picked out of going to the Kingdom Hall for a long time. Like, every Jehovah's Witness knows this, that when someone is picked for governing body, no matter of fact, they all know that the current governing body, they don't know nothing about them other than that they've been Jehovah's Witnesses for a long time. These are the people that sit in rooms and decide what you're going to believe and what you're not going to believe. Almost every other religion has to get people out of some kind of seminary, out of some kind of a college, out of somewhere that denotes that this person has basic sense. If churches did not have to do that because their congregations would demand to know who these people are, if churches didn't have to do that, they wouldn't get people from colleges and seminaries. They would put whoever in the world they wanted in front of the church as the pastor. They would put whoever they wanted over a group of churches to govern over them. Most people demand individuals in positions of importance to have some kind of qualifications. Jehovah's Witnesses are the only ones I know of that don't. You don't put Mormons in that necessary group because they believe that their president or the person over their church is a literal prophet, like literally speaks to God. Watchtower's not saying they're a prophet. If a person is saying, hey, I'm a prophet, well then no, you don't necessarily need to come from a school or show in some way, shape, or form that you're really intelligent, because your information is coming directly from God. They're speaking, God is speaking to you. That's what Mormons believe that their leaders do, is getting information directly from God. God is talking to this person. So he could be the dumbest person in the world and still lead the church because God is literally telling them what he wants to hear. Watchtower is saying we're not prophets and we're not inspired. Okay, if you're not prophets, you're not inspired, what school did you come out of? Show me something that displays your ability to run a global organization of some, show something. We just were JWs and knocked on doors for a long time, and you guys just put your lives in our hands because you're stupid. There's no other explanation for this. There is no other explanation. They're not misinformed, they're just stupid. They went and got their information about something as important as their relationship with God. They got that information from people that would, there's no reason for them to have the correct information. If I told the average person walking in the streets that there is a religious group of people that don't believe that their leaders are necessarily prophets, they don't believe that their leaders come from any kind of prestigious seminary, they don't believe that their leaders even necessarily even went to college, they don't even know if their leaders, all of them, can read that well, really. I mean, and these are the people that they trust with making decisions about their medical treatments. Whether or not you should have a procedure or not, you trust that to just some random person that's just been a JW for a long time. There's nothing to. These aren't even all necessarily people. The people that translated their Jehovah's Witness Bible, they didn't even put their names out because they knew these people weren't necessarily qualified to translate different languages. You look at me and I am literally right now speechless when I talk about this. So all of the people, all of them that were not raised Jehovah's Witnesses and got their information from some random person at work that they liked, or some random person that knocked on their door and gave them a magazine, and they believed them without checking any of this information. And they had reason to check the information because the information was vastly different from anything any of their relatives were getting from church, any of their friends were getting from church, anything they had heard from church. And they didn't check any of it, but continued to listen to a group of people get important things wrong and then still didn't check any of it. All of them are stupid. Tell the truth. It's not about making things feel good. People think that anyone that says something that doesn't feel good to them, they're angry. It's just a fact. That was stupid. And it takes a stupid person to wake up every day and do something stupid. And continue to not even double check on these people. You have the Australian Royal Commission. You have Australia, all of Australia looking into the elders and people who are touching little kids, the pedophiles. Of course they got pedophiles because they're not checking these people. They're getting them off the street. So you got people, the kids are suffering because their parents joined a religious group and didn't check on them. Didn't check to see if they're legit or not. So now they got all these pedophiles. They're touching little kids. You go and tell a Jehovah's Witness. It's a royal commission in Australia. You can look at it yourself. Look up the information. Jehovah's Witnesses, some of them will say that Australia made it up. Thousands of cases, Australia made it up. If a person shows you who they are, believe them. If they keep saying things that denote how stupid they are, maybe Watchtower has collected a bunch of stupid people and have just taken their money. They're just stupid. Only someone stupid would get information saying that Australia is looking into pedophiles and Watchtower. Not just random pedophiles, elders who are pedophiles. Not only that, but there are lawsuits all over the place. Candace Conti. You can look up specific ones if you want to look those up, those cases. And they don't look it up. I was a kid. I recall there were people like Candace Conti on the news. On news reporting, I don't know if it was like something like 60 Minutes or something to that effect, but people who report things like that. It was on national television, and my parents, their view of it is not to look into it to prove that it's not right, but to not watch it. Anything from a authoritative source or something that could be authoritative, don't look at it. But go to sources that are not authoritative, someone just off the street knocking on your door. Those are the people you go to for actual information. That was stupid. I'm talking about everyone that wasn't born a Jehovah's Witness. All of y'all are stupid. Honest truth. It's the honest truth. You're stupid. There's no way around it. Comment down below and let me know what the way around that is. But this is the guy that's going to tell the truth. I'm just going to tell you how it is. I have no reason to not tell you that I've thought about it, and I can't think of anything around the fact that they're stupid and the reason why that they are still there, even though we're making all these videos and there's all these websites and there's all this information. Watchtower's doing all this stuff wrong and they're still there, it's because they're stupid. They're too dumb. It doesn't matter what Watchtower does or tells them to do it or what happens to their family. They're just stupid. They are unintelligent people. So you have indoctrination, that's true. You have indoctrination, you have repetition, you have Watchtower telling them not to talk to anyone other than Watchtower. That's true. But you have to add in the factor that they're stupid also. The other people that are stupid are the people that are born in, not the ones that are still kids, because they're just doing what their parents tell them to do. They don't know. Their parents are supposed to give them kind of a view of the outside world and what's going on. So the kids aren't stupid. I don't believe the kids are stupid. I don't believe the people that aren't old enough to understand the world yet, who's just listening to their parents, I don't believe that they're stupid. However, if you were born and raised a Jehovah's Witness and your entire life, you didn't think you were getting out of middle school because the end of the world was coming. Then you get to high school. You didn't believe that high school was going to come because the end of the world was supposed to be here. Then you start looking at the 1914 generation and saying, okay, well, it's got to come in the next few years, because there's no way that these people are living to be 200 or something to that effect. The generation of 1914 that they said would not pass away before the end of the world came, and they said that for the longest time. Okay, well, when none of that happened and you had kids, you never thought you would have a whole family and you'd have kids and you'd be older now? Like, we're adults now. A lot of us that were raised in the Jehovah's Witness, we're adults now. We never thought we'd be adults. And then you have kids. You're in a situation you never even thought would happen. You think that you would look into it at this point, and you have got more information than your parents ever had with your access to the internet. We have access to them on our phones now. So we, the people that were raised in that are older now, we have more access to information than anybody, any of our parents ever had. And now you're telling your kids not to go to college. You're telling them the same things that you were told that screwed your life up. And now you're telling the same thing to your kids. You are dumber than your parents were. Stop me when I'm lying. You are stupid for not even checking on it if any of this is accurate. And you know for a fact that your whole life you were told the end of the world was around the corner. And it was not around the corner, because now you're old and you got kids now. And you still haven't even checked. Just Google it. Look up the information. And if you have people that are from all walks of life, from all different states, and they're all saying the same thing about Watchtower, that it's a cult and that it's wrong, maybe they're not just angry. Maybe they're telling the truth. But only someone intelligent would understand that. So comment down below. Let me know what you think. This is just pure logic. Just get our feelings out of it for a while. Our parents were stupid. If we stayed in it, despite our access to information, we're stupid. And then if we told our kids and we're messing up our kids' lives, just like we were told lies, then we're stupid. There's no way around it. X Walk Hill Bethelite signing out.